God. Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Soren, and this is my channel, Soren Through Books. And today, I wanted to start with a new video series, perhaps, that I could do, where I read a book and then I watch the media associated with it. So, by that I mean, like, the book that I'm going to use for this video is called One Day by David Nichols, and I'm going to read the book version of this, and this was turned into, ignore the receipt, this was turned into both a movie and a TV show. The TV show is on Netflix and the movie is on Amazon Prime. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through this book, give you my thoughts on the book, and then watch the movie and then watch the TV show and see what my thoughts on those are and then compare the three mediums. I thought the natural one to start with was One Day because I've heard good things about this. I've heard good things about the show, so I wanted to just give it a whirl and see what it was like. And I will report back to you when I get to part 2. And then, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I hope you like this video. I hope you like the series. Hopefully it becomes better run than this one, because this one is probably going to be a little all over the place because I just will not really know what I'm doing. But that's okay. So anyways, welcome back. Grab your favorite beverage, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and come soaring through One Day with me. Chapter 1. You can't see that at all. Chapter 1. That's also just a bad view. So, you're welcome. Ooh, his hair does sound terrible. She just described his hair as gratifyingly, his hair is terrible because the rest of him looks great. Short at the back and sides, but with an awful little quiff at the front. Whatever gel he used had worn off, and now the quiff looked pert and fluffy, like a silly little hat. Painful. Chapter 1 done. I don't know how to feel. I don't like Dex, which is what Emma calls him. His name is Dexter Mayhew. He's kind of a jerk. At least my interpretation of him. Maybe not, but like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of him. She's had some rough relationship stuff in the past. I feel like I will enjoy this though. I don't know how to feel. It's way too early, and I'll just check in with you again a little bit later. I am off to a coffee shop to read One Day, and I'm almost through part 1. I'm enjoying it, I guess, for the most part. Dex kind of just views Emma as like a project at the moment, and it kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable. There are some good pages, I will say. There's like a couple moments that I was like, wow, that's a really good thing between them. I think one is at the very end when they were last hanging out with each other in 1991, and they definitely have a good relationship going. It's just uncomfortable to see that Dex doesn't view her necessarily, like, he doesn't understand who she is, and they've known each other for 5-6 years now, as he likes to say, and it just doesn't feel like he knows her in the way that she knows him. But at the same time, she's very insecure around him. I don't know. I'm enjoying it for the most part, though. This book is making me feel actually, am I enjoying it? It's one of those books that I'm kind of feeling very mediocre about. It's not really invoking feeling in me, and it's something that I wish would invoke feeling in me, because it has a good central theme of, like, finding oneself and finding out who you are, and just the difficulties of going through life, living through your 20s, and being financially stable, and how that can impact your relationships and all of that. But I'm struggling at the moment to really connect with the story and find a way to be fully invested in it. But I think that will just improve as the story goes on, hopefully. I'm going to go to the coffee shop, finish reading at least through part 2 or 3, and then come back and grab my gym bag and go to the gym, and then come back and read some more and make dinner and stuff. So that's my plan. I'm gonna go. I will let you know how the rest of this fleshes out. I'm currently on chapter 5, the rules of engagement, and I'm excited to dive into it. It's a longer chapter, so hopefully there are some key things that happen in this relationship at this moment in time. Anyways, talk to you later. Okay, so I'm realizing I'm filming a lot of this from the car. It's fine. So, all that I'm really gonna say is I've made it to part 2. I'm past part 2. I've started part 2 already, and I am already enjoying part 2 more than I did part 1. Part 1 was something that I still don't really know how I feel about part 1. Part 1 was kind of all over the place. I didn't feel connected to the story at all. I still don't really feel connected to the story, but it's not like in a negative way this time. Like, I'm not connected to it, but I'm still getting into it a little bit more. I'm really starting to understand and relate to these characters more than I was able to in the first one. And we are seeing how these themes of grief and loss are being introduced, and we have this motif of one day, right? Motif. We have this motif of one day, and of course, one day is very important, as that's the title of the book, and it's just one day throughout the years, 20 years, in fact, and I'm currently like 7 years in or something, and it's quite interesting. I really enjoy this idea that one day has so many possibilities over so many years, and so many things will change and just evolve as you grow as well, and you'll see your life in different lights throughout all of these 20 years. And it's just a really interesting idea, and I think that it's well explored in the terms of, like, each year we see these two characters have slightly different takes on what their lives can be and what their lives are, and we see their outlook on life change as well, and I think that's really interesting. And then we also see this idea of family and the impact of someone on the verge of death coming into play, and how someone deals with that emotionally, especially someone who's famous. And I think that it's a really interesting thing to explore. Do I think it's the best explored? Not necessarily, but I'm finding it more easy to relate to these characters with part 2's developments so far. And I will say I did enjoy some of the conversations that happened at the end of part 1 in that last chapter, but there were a couple parts of that chapter that felt really uncomfortable, and there have been a couple of parts of this book that I feel like have been just really awkward, and it feels like the joke is just not landing on the reader, and it might be partially just the characters that are speaking at the time. And I think in part 2, a thing that I was just reading, that is a part of it. But in the first one, there was just a whole conversation about sexuality, and I didn't really know how to feel about it. It didn't feel authentic, and it felt like the author was putting that in there. However, I will say this book is very forward because, well, is it forward? Let's see. When was this book published? Never mind. I will say that the inclusion of a bisexual character in this book was kind of played for jokes a little bit. Like, not really, but kind of. I don't know. It just, the whole conversation around sexuality and Ingrid's sexuality made me somewhat uncomfortable. And maybe it was just me, but it just didn't ring true. It didn't ring true for me at all. But yeah, so I am now like 150 pages in. I'm heading to the gym, and then I will be back, and I will be making dinner and finishing up this book. I think it's just 300 pages left, I think. I didn't really start reading this until like a little bit ago, so I'm very far behind in terms of where I wanted to be today, but that's okay because I have plenty of the day left. So I'm off to the gym. Also, I'm sorry, I look very sweaty right now, and that's because I'm sitting in a hot car, and I didn't feel like turning on the car because I didn't know how that would affect the audio. So there's that. Anyways, I'm taking you along with me to the gym, and you will see absolutely none of my workout because I will not film in the gym. I meant to film in the coffee shop, but that didn't happen because there were too many people in the coffee shop, and I didn't want to put someone in the video that like didn't explicitly consent to it, and I also didn't I was gonna sit outside, and then I didn't because it was too hot, and it is getting too hot in this car, as you can tell. So I am going to abandon you now. Yep. See you soon.
A few moments later.
Change of plans. I should have looked at the hours before I was about to go off. The gym closes in 40 minutes, and I would get there in like 15 minutes, and therefore I would be able to work out for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then be done, and that's not enough. So I'm gonna figure something else out, and in the meanwhile I'm gonna read because I've got some reading to do, of course. And this is a horrible angle. Whoa, that was not better. That was not better. Inserted the key wrong. Anyways, I'm gonna get through this book. The month ends. June ends in 2 days, if I include today. So I just want to finish this book before the end of tomorrow because I want this to be a June book. It feels like a June book. So I'm either going to go for a walk, go for a run, or do like calisthenics in the house or something, and figure out what I'm gonna do from there. And then, yeah, I'm horrible at improvising my day, but that's fine. Oh, this light is terrible. Oh, you just get all the good stuff. Welcome back to my channel. Ew. I'm gonna figure this out. I promise this will be edited decently. Okay. Now this is really strange, but I just decided against reading in the house. I was very tired of being inside, so I'm going for a walk before it starts to rain, because it definitely looks like it will. So I'm on a little walk around the neighborhood. I'm going to read my book and then figure stuff out from there. Yep. Oh, I'm also on part 2. The book is pretty good. I definitely like part 2 more than part 1. The characters are so much more intriguing and interesting, and they have so much more depth to them than in part 1, but it's just, I still don't really see why I should root for them together, and I don't really think either of them, it's rough. I feel very little for this story. This story is not making me care for it, which is kind of sad because I was super excited to read this, and I felt like it would be a happy or lift my spirits kind of book, because I just read some more difficult. I mean, that's not true either. I don't even know what I'm saying. Basically, this is just not what I was expecting it to be, and it's kind of sad in terms of that, but it's not making me feel any sort of emotion. Also, Emma and Ian is just something, and I have thoughts. I have thoughts on their characterization and just the way the themes and motifs are being played out. It just doesn't feel supernatural, except for the one day theme. I really do enjoy this constant revisiting of one day throughout the years. I think that's really unique and special about this story, but it's just not this. My bookmark just fell out of my book. Anyways, it's just not what I expected it to be. and that's okay. And now you've essentially gone on this walk with me for a little bit, so yay. This does not look good. It's perfect reading weather, so I'll just go back in the house. Still, I do worry that we're gonna lose power, which would be really unfortunate. So I'm gonna go plug in my phone. But, yeah. I'm on part 5. Oh, wow, I'm not that. I just was not expecting what just happened to happen. I just don't know how to feel about it. It came so out of the blue. But I am on part 5. I'm so close, so let's finish this book. And then I'll go to sleep and I'll review it in the morning. I have finished one day. So remember when I said I would review this in the morning? I don't really have the patience for that. It's 1:43 in the morning right now. And I finished it. And I'm just unsatisfied, you know? Like, it's one of those books that I feel I like the concept of more than I like the execution of. There were a couple moments throughout the book that I felt really uncomfortable with the way the author wrote about some conversations and some issues. The first part of the book I cared almost nothing for. The second part of the book, I started to get a little bit more into it near the end of the second part. Third part, there was a great chapter in part 3. It was chapter 13, I think. Chapter 9, cigarettes and alcohol, I quite enjoyed. This was in part 2. It was the very end of part 2. There was a part, actually, at the end of part 2 that I wanted to reference at one point. Oh, I thought this was a good line. I love him, she thought. I'm just not in love with him, and also I don't love him. I've tried, I've strained to love him, but I can't. I'm building a life with a man I don't love, and I don't know what to do about it. I thought that was good, especially within the context of the scene, which I know I'm not giving, so it kind of reads just kind of strange. But there was another moment in part 3. Part 3 was, I think, one of my favorite parts, or was my favorite part, because I think it had the most interesting character development. I think it had the most interesting aspects of the relationship, and chapter 13 was by far my favorite chapter. I just remember it very distinctly, and everything that happened at this wedding was just really, it felt right. And I actually started to like the characters a lot more once we got into their 30s. It's just, I know I'm not sounding very coherent right now. It's a lot later than I intended, but overall, I just felt as though they were better characters in part 3, and so I cared more about them in part 4 and part 5. And part 4 just had this part that had, the end of part 4 was just so sudden and unexpected, and I wouldn't say that it was in a good way. I didn't feel a ton of things. I just also felt shock, but not shock that, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, in a way that is connected, but more shock and like a, that was weird, you know? I feel like this book, in essence, the motifs, the way that it explored one day throughout the years and how that one day has so many possibilities, and you can fall in love with someone again all on the same day. It's a really moving concept, and I think the theme of time throughout the novel and the both fragility of it, but also the way that time can work in one's favor, and things can flip and things can change, and over time you grow as a person. I feel like it was a really interesting and well done concept in terms of how we examine time, and in terms of how we examine other aspects of human life. I would not say that I could give this book any credit, mainly because I felt that it was very dull. I didn't feel anything for these characters. I felt some disconnect from the story as a whole throughout the entire thing, although there was a really good line about grief near the end, and this is the line. These days, grief seems like walking on a frozen river. Most of the time, he feels safe enough, but there's always that danger that he will plunge through. Now he hears the ice creak beneath him, and so intense and panicking is the sensation that he has to stand for a moment, press his hands to his face, and catch his breath. He exhales slowly through his fingers, then rushes into the kitchen and throws dirty plates into the sink with a clatter. He has a sudden, overwhelming need to drink and to keep on drinking. He finds his phone. And that, especially in the context, was, I think, the most moving part of the book, and I think perhaps the most well done and well fleshed out exploration of the human emotion and the human psyche. But overall, I rated this book 3 stars, even though I did finish it very recently, as in less than an hour ago, and I wanted this book to do more than it did, and I was just disappointed. But now I have to go, sorry, I've been talking really slowly. Now I have to go watch the TV show and watch the movie. So we'll probably start with the movie because the movie is less well rated, and we'll watch that tomorrow, and then the TV show we'll probably watch over the course of the week. And I'm excited to see if I enjoy the movie or the TV show more than I enjoyed the book itself, because I feel like the book has so much potential, and I feel like honestly it would work better on screen with people portraying the roles to make me feel something more for them. I couldn't find myself enjoying it in the way that it's meant to be enjoyed, and that's just really upsetting and really disappointing, especially for a love story that I felt like I would really enjoy. Anyways, I've been talking for way too long now, so I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm going hiking in the morning, which is very exciting. I don't know what video that's gonna show up in, likely not this one because this video is already way too long, but we'll see. I'm really excited, and I'm supposed to go hiking in less than 7 hours. So, with all the best, good night, and I'll talk to you in the morning. Probably more likely in the evening. Okay, I'm about to start the show. I'm watching it on my phone because I don't have it on my iPad, and I would watch it on the TV, but currently there's a huge bout of COVID going through the cast of the show that I'm in, and I live with 2 people that are in the show, so I'm trying to keep my distance as much as possible and keep myself as safe as possible so that the show can continue, because I have to go in tomorrow for someone, which reminds me that I will have to actually look at the stuff for that person in their track, either tonight or tomorrow morning. But until then, I'm going to watch the show. I think I'm going to watch a couple episodes tonight and try and finish it either tomorrow or Saturday, and I have a bunch of editing for this video to do, so I have a lot of stuff planned, but I'm looking forward to letting you know what my thoughts on the show are. Also, an update, in addition to the other media of this book, So it was also made into a movie, I believe I said at the beginning of the video, but I cannot watch that movie because what I originally thought was free on Prime is money, or it costs something. So I'm not going to spend money to watch the movie, so I'm just going to watch the show and just tell you what I think about that. And because essentially that works. You know what? I don't know where I was going with that. I just don't know where I was going with that. I'm so sorry for the wobbliness of the camera. You are currently on my bed, so every time I move, the camera goes up and down and up and down, up and down. But, nevertheless, I will fill you in as the show goes on. Hey, so I have in fact watched a couple episodes. I'm pulling up my notes right now, but I don't really need my notes to tell you that I'm so sorry. That's not better. We're just gonna change the angle. That's slightly better. Anyways, I am loving it. It is so cute. Everything that I didn't love about the book, I feel like the show fixes. Like, there's so much more chemistry between them in the show than there was in the book. There is beautiful cinematography, a wonderful soundtrack so far, and I'm really just enjoying the dynamics of the characters in the show. It's wonderfully cast. Everyone feels like they really fit the roles, and I like the little changes that they've made from book to screen. I like that we have 1988 all in one go rather than going back to it at the end, like what they did in the book. I think it's just, I also really like that we see more of Tilly in the show, and I don't know, it's so much better than the book. And this is one of the first times I think I've ever said that. I just am enjoying the transition. I think it works better on screen. I think the characters are more enjoyable to watch on screen. I think it's so freaking cute. They are so cute. The first episode is absolutely adorable, and the second episode, I love the chemistry between what's his name, Dexter, and his mom, Allison. It's just so well done, and I love it so far. What a great adaptation. And I love that it makes me really enjoy it, and that I'm not finding it mediocre like I found the book. I feel like that is a testament to a really good adaptation. Anyways, I'm off to sleep, because it's late. Yeah. I'll talk to you later. This is the 12th episode. So close. Give me like an hour. But I did just finish the show. So, give me an hour. Right then. Oh, hold on. I keep forgetting to turn off this fan when I'm talking to you. Anyways, I finished one day. If you couldn't tell from the last clip, it destroyed me. It did. I thought it was so wonderful. I read the book, right, and I thought it was fine, but the characters were 10,000 times more compelling in the show. I loved seeing their relationship blossom. I just felt immense pain by the end of that series, but just so much pain, and I went through so much pain over and over throughout that series. It was, but it impacted me so much. I loved Emma and Tilly's relationship in the series over the book, because in the book it feels like their relationship isn't talked about very much, and it doesn't feel like she's respected, like in the wedding episode, in episode 10 of the show, and in chapter something of the book. Yeah, chapter 13. Anyways, as I was saying, in the wedding episode, Emma gives a speech for Tilly's wedding, and Emma and Tilly are just best mates. And then in the book, Emma's pushed to the back, and it feels really strange because they feel like such good friends from beginning to end of the book. So their friendship doesn't feel as strong as it does in the show, but it is still really relevant. And so when she's pushed to the back of the wedding reception, I was just really confused. But in the show makes it make so much more sense, because not only does she give a speech, but she helps with everything Tilly-wise, and Tilly and her see each other before Tilly gets married, and it's just so sweet. It's so sweet. And then I will say, in that same episode, Dex had a horrible hairstyle, but everyone was complimenting how good he looked, and I just couldn't agree. Anyways, I think the soundtrack was absolutely phenomenal. It really complemented the show. In a lot of ways, the way that the soundtrack complemented the show reminded me of Heartstopper, which is another show that I love, and the way that Heartstopper uses its soundtrack was just always interlinks with what's going on just so beautifully, and it happened here too, and I couldn't help but just fall in love with it. And now I'm going to have to listen to that soundtrack while I'm driving somewhere, because it's just gorgeous. And then the cinematography, of course, was just absolutely beautiful from beginning to end. Each moment in the last episode, there are lots of gray tones. In the beginning couple episodes, it's a lot more colorful, and it's a beautifully and expertly done piece of cinema, and I could not help falling in love with it just throughout that entire series. I loved Dex and Allison's relationship in both the book and the series, but I think it was a lot more touching in the series too. All the changes they made to the series felt so much better of a choice than what happened in the book. Although I will say, the episode on fathering, they left out a call that Dex gives to Suki Meadows. And I thought that was really important and for Dexter's character in the book, so I was actually kind of surprised that they left it out. And there were a lot of things in the episode that I wish they'd included, because it was the shortest episode by far, but there were things in that chapter that I wanted to see. But I will say, regardless, I just really loved the series. It was absolutely phenomenal. Series I gave 4.5 stars, and the book I gave 3. So in this case, this is shocking for me to say, but I think that the TV media was better than the book. Since I was only able to watch the series, I'm just basing this off of the series. So thank you for coming along this journey with me, and I hope you liked this video. I will be doing another one, I think, at the beginning of each month. So look out for the next one, which I will probably start filming at the end of this month. So anyways, have a really great rest of your day, and thanks for coming along with me. I already said that. Bye. Sorry for the loud noise. I don't know if my face was in the frame. Also, it was really close.